What's going on, guys? Welcome to In the Zone. I'm your host, Garrison Roy, and today we're gonna have a very special interview. But before we get into that, if you're new, just want to let you know we do have several different types of segments of how we can get in the zone, right? We have, again, today is full-length interview. We have mental minutes, which are quick mental game hacks to help elevate your performance. We also have deep dives or educational explorations, right, to get into different zones of training, skill acquisition, or whatever might be in the nitty gritty that we might need to break a few research studies out for things like that. And obviously rants where we kind of discuss hot topics and call out some other things in the industry. And obviously we don't do paid ads or sponsorships or monetize the show. So if you know someone who is needing to hear this, please share it. Obviously, everything here is more to add value to you guys, because if I bring someone onto this podcast, it's because I see value in it and definitely believe in what everyone stands for here. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring on Travis Miller. He is the director of sales and marketing out at Core Energy. What's going on, Travis?
How's it going? Good. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for having us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we had just kind of give everyone kind of a background. We had a previous podcast on here, or a previous Zoom recording that was kind of giving me a little bit more background of the core energy belt. And to be honest with you, like when I first went into it, I was like, are these guys trying to do like the core velocity belt, but kind of, something completely different, which is like a bunch of bands and stuff that you hook up on guys with hitting and pitching. And then I was like, no, this is actually like a just straight up belt, which is pretty neat. And you guys kind of walk through the whole science with that too. And um, for those of you listening, there is a few other videos that Ryan Cronin did. I'm going to drop those in the show notes for you guys to kind of look at that and see the studies that they did, but we'll break that down a little bit later. But Travis, from your perspective, obviously, you weren't necessarily the founder, but how did this all kind of come about, and where are you guys at now with
Yeah,
the belt?
absolutely. So the belt has Japanese roots. It was started about 14 years ago by our CEO, who now is here in the States full time with his family and dedicated to a North American audience for the belt. But the belt itself really was a product of him knowing textiles, him understanding materials, and then knowing and understanding that there was a need for athletes and for their performance. The belt itself, as you alluded to, is core energy. It speaks to the body itself, the core. It deals with what we call inner abdominal pressure.
Mhm.
So during his time in creating the belt, he was looking at how do I give the athlete the best possible, piece of equipment now for baseball, not just a product or not just an accessory with the uniform. And how does he deliver that on the grandest stage? Fast forward a couple years, and he starts, developing and making relationships into the Napon Baseball League, probably the second largest baseball league in the world, next to MLB. And from there, the word of mouth, the ingenuity and touch and feel of the belt just kind of grew organically through the Napon League. After a couple years in there, and now to this date, we're at over 80% of the Napon athletes wearing the belt day in and day out for their team and for their career. We offer an umpire belt where 100% of the umpires in the Napon League are wearing it, and that's what brought me to Core Energy is they were looking to expand North America. I have a pretty extensive background in sport myself, and so they approached me, and through interview process, we found it to be a fit that I could help build, a North American sales team, North American marketing, branding, and introduce this belt. I've had a big push in the back with what they already started and created.
Mhm.
And a lot of the players, coming from either Japan to America or America to Japan and crossing over the waters there to play in both leagues. It's become a word of mouth thing, and it's become a known product now. So we're excited for the future. We're excited where we can take Core Energy, and like I said, the biggest thing is we're introducing this product as a piece of equipment, just like they do with their gloves, their bats, their helmets, their eyewear, and now all of a sudden this gives an added benefit to the body itself over the duration of their playing career.
Absolutely. Well, and I love the I guess slogan is play the long game, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, it's something that you don't really think about. And I was like, wow, you know what? Like you have equipment like your glove, you have bats, everybody's putting on like the elbow guards and the shin guards now. For you to just optimize anything you possibly can, and especially a belt, like, no one's gonna say that that's like a, performance enhancing thing of just having a different kind of belt on, right? But
Right.
what Ryan Cronin was actually seeing, and he kind of did it in tandem with his armcare.com device with the arm dynamometer, which is pretty neat. Um, but that inter-abdominal pressure actually helped those guys increase strength and also recover a lot faster after they did their outing or after like a bullpen and throwing session, which is
Yeah.
pretty wild in my
Yeah,
opinion.
Ryan joined the team, well before I did, and he was a fan of the product, and he took his, his mental capacity that reaches far beyond mine, and probably anyone else's here within the company to figure out how much of a benefit this belt can be. And yeah, like you said, during a case study that he was doing with some of his athletes, he was seeing a true increase in velocity with their bullpen, and seeing levels go up based off of that pressure, and based off of aligning the core over the hips, and engaging the spine. And I've seen studies, not to get too technical into it, but studies where he's seen like increased blood flow like through the body, and all of that is relatable to the inter-abdominal pressure, and how the body reacts to this piece of equipment, as simple as it is, a belt around the waist.
Right. Oh, it's very, and I appreciate you guys sending me one of these. So for those of you watching on YouTube, you can kind of see a little bit of what the belt looks like. You have this here, right? So, um, obviously, if we had like the old school or like the ones that you would just get, from Little League games, right? They're super stretchy. But this one, like you have maybe a little bit of stretch, but it's definitely a lot more durable and a lot thicker. And the materials just, I think it's pretty top notch, even with the leather and the metal. You said this was
Yeah,
steel
steel,
for the
correct.
yeah. Walk us through this a little bit of like what all the ins
Yeah.
and outs for it.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, our CEO, like, he comes from a textile background, he comes from material. With that, there's a layering process, and he found and created that, 6 layer process is the right support amount. We do have junior belts that we do that come at 4 levels, and 4 layers. We've got business casual belts at 5 layers, but we find that 6th layer is right about the sweet spot for a nice flexible give, a nice comfort, but also offers the rigidity to the structure of the belt. As you mentioned, like previous belts, and when you grow up, you go out and you buy your team color and your team baseball belt for the
Mhm.
season. But if you stretch it, I mean, over a course of time, you're going to lose all elasticity. But if you stretch it, you can actually see, the color coming through in the dye
Right.
process, and it's almost like a white belt if you stretch it hard enough,
All the
no matter.
way out. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you bring up a good point with the belt itself. We do find ourselves in that sweet spot of the high school player, the player that's starting to get serious about their career, to where we're adapting programs through high school, through college, the junior college, the college level, all divisions 1, 2, and 3, NAIA, and then up to the professional levels that way. So someone who's younger and is watching your show or listening to your podcast, it doesn't really cater as much to them where their body's starting to develop and they're still growing into their body. But once they get to, you know, that high school level and they're feeling the twinges and tweaks of longer seasons, longer games, and dedicating themselves to the baseball game, they're really going to see the added benefit
Oh,
of
absolutely. Well,
energy
and
level.
to kind of touch on that a little bit more, right? Like some of those younger guys probably don't even know how to have some inner abdominal pressure, right? So,
Right.
uh, I could see this as also kind of being just a training tool outside of that. Once they start to get a lot more serious, and we're like, hey, let's throw this belt on, have a couple around there, and then help them learn how to do that through their pitching. Because you see it all the time when you have like the weightlifting belts or things that they would do inside the weight room, but you
Right.
don't see that in a more skill specific setting, which I think is really cool. And I actually have a couple athletes that I recommended this to already who have back issues, and I'm like, look, hey, try this thing out, see if it helps. If because if basically, to not get too scientific, right? But like if your lower back is uh having a lot of pressure on it and your pelvis is tilted, right? And you see a lot of that where you have kind of like that lombardic curve. If you
Hmm.
get some more abdominal inter-abdominal pressure through there, that can kind of help even that out and keeps everything a lot more aligned. So you may not feel as much of, maybe like a herniated disc or something like that. Like it's still there. It's not going to cure it, right? But
Right.
I see a huge benefit for this. And obviously you guys are doing a whole line for golf and everything too, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it comes down to the posture, right? And if you, whether you're in the office or even the coaches, you know what I mean? Like they're standing in the dugout, and the coaches that wear our belt call us back and tell us how much they appreciate, you know, the belt that we send them. And when you get a coach or a trainer really understanding and feeling the difference day in and day out, and then all of a sudden you adapt it to a player and then the player's performance, and they say, you know what? If I'm wearing it in the dugout, my players need to wear it too because I know that their body is taking on more stress than mine is. But you hit it right on the head as far as you know the youth athlete as they get more serious into their baseball, they can use it as a tool. And one of the things that I said when I first came into the company and you know developing that marketing, that branding for North America, is
Mhm.
you see so many athletes and so many players that are going to their indoor training facilities. They're going to their batting cages, and they're simply training not the way they play. So I adopted the motto, you know, train the way you play. And these guys are in gym shorts. They're in, you know, um, as comfortable as they can get.
Right.
But then all of a sudden they step on the field and now they have to wear a uniform. They have to wear a leather belt that's rigid, that's cutting into their skin and their body. And so I think if we start, you know, looking at it a little bit differently from the outside of practice the way you play. And now all of a sudden you'll see more and more people adopting these kind of things. Like you talked about arm care,
Mhm.
the hitting instruction, and really, like I said, anything that these guys are doing, they want to make sure they're protecting themselves for the long run. And like you alluded to, the play the long game. That's exactly what we're about. It doesn't just correlate to you know distance over the fence, or
Right.
distance on the driving range, but play the long game as far as your career goes, and how you look at training and practice day in and day out.
Oh, absolutely. That representative design is something that I actually touch on a lot as far as just performance goes, where I'm telling guys like, hey, your practice needs to look a lot more like the game. And that's like one little nuance that, even me as a trainer didn't really think about, right? Like I think you brought this up where golfers, they all wear pants, they all wear the same setup. But for baseball, right? Like obviously they're like you said in gym shorts and all this stuff. But if you're looking to try to improve and play better, right? You have to have that level of representativeness. I'm not saying you have to do it all the time, but like maybe
Right.
every day you throw a bullpen or every day you're like, or maybe you're taking the pregame BP, like throw the belt on or at least have your pants on, and then throw your jersey on later or something like that. But if you don't want to get it dirty, I guess. But like
Yeah,
having
yeah,
that to have it kind of all does affect each other in the overall feel of how you move and how you play.
yeah, and I think it correlates to what a lot of these coaches and trainers are doing now, on the field. It's a much different time than probably when you and I were on the field,
Oh,
uh,
definitely.
but there's nutrition involved, there's, strength and conditioning involved, and now we look at, the body itself, and the Japanese culture has always been pretty aware and self-aware, of taking care of that body, whether it be through, massage therapy, acupuncture. So to have that story with core and bring that culture, that philosophy over into North America has been a joy and been very easy on my, marketing ploy and my branding and chatting to these coaches and to the trainers and to the equipment managers. They get it. So I think it's just a matter of time that everyone's doing it. And like you said, it doesn't have to be every time, but if you're throwing a bullpen and you're meeting your personal pitching coach at his facility, like don't hesitate to throw a pair of pants on and just see what you can do and how the body reacts to wearing the belt that way.
No doubt, no doubt. And I actually didn't realize this till I opened it up. This is actually a lot more customized, right? Like you get your traditional belts, you're like, hey, this is like a 32 to a 34, whatever it might be. But after like looking at this, you have to go in and measure your waist length, right? So it's not the one size fits all, which I love, right? Because you got to customize everything and make that fit for what they need, right? But you get that, and then you basically, if I'm not mistaken, right, you get that length that you need, and then you replace this back on there, and then it's that perfect snug fit for them to have. And I think Ryan even talked about having like a 2-inch cinch.
Bench, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, talk
Yeah.
a
And
little bit about that.
yeah, that's one of the studies that he did, all of our belts are designed to be customized, customizable fit. We talk about and we send the instructions in the packaging when someone purchases our belt, whether it's online or in retail. So it goes through the proper fitting size. And then with the belt, obviously you have your belt loops, your belt holes.
Mhm.
And the way the prong fits in is you want it to fall into that middle hole because you can loosen it, you can tighten it. And when Ryan talks about a 2-inch cinch, he's literally cinching the belt down 2 more notches for
Okay.
his players, for his athletes, to see what the increase in the levels and see if it affects the velocity, which it happened to do so. And the testing came back very positive on our end. And now all of a sudden the science backs, if you can get that belt snug and you can get that belt
Oh yeah.
pressing on the abdominal muscles, then it's going to increase your posture. It's going to, add that hip mobility and that hip flexibility underneath your hips that way. And and I find that it's just a lot more comfortable if you have a snug fitting belt worn at the proper level of your body than it is,
Yeah.
a belt that you're still pulling up. A belt was originally designed to hold up pants and trousers
Right.
that we all need, that we all know about. So if you're not using the belt properly, then why are you even wearing one?
That's true. That's very true. I've seen a lot of the this is kind of more like 13, 14 when they first get to the big field, and they have that little piece, like, kind of referring to the old belts where you have to like pull it and they're like, oh,
Yeah,
this is too tight, or this is too big, right? It's a huge struggle. But
yeah,
this is like, hey, we're measuring it, boom, this is it.
yeah, yeah. I've got little
Mess with
kids
the cinches a
myself,
little
and,
bit.
and when he says, "Oh, my belt's too tight," I'm like, "It's there for a reason. It's holding up your
Yeah,
pants." Right?
exactly.
Yeah. You want to slide into second and have your pants fall off? We're gonna put your belt a little tight.
No,
So
yeah, we don't need that at all. Oh man, I love it though. It's really cool, and there's actually quite a few pro guys that have listed out. But one that kind of drew my attention, I think I just recently saw the Instagram video of you guys like filling an order for Will Smith,
yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Will's an advocate of the belt. In fact, we do full team purchases for them, the Dodgers. They're one of our top customers. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, we are in all 30 MLB teams now and in their clubhouse or locker room in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a player, a coach, a trainer, an equipment manager who's purchased the belt over the years. But yeah, the Dodgers are very good customers of ours, and Will Smith happens to be an everyday gamer that's in it day in and day out. We've got a couple Japanese players that are now performing at a high level in MLB, and they're wearing it. They're introducing it to teammates of theirs. We've done some stuff with, and I think I can mention his name, Justin Turner,
Yeah.
on a foundation side. And so we sent our golf belts to his golf tournament, but that was all because he reached out and he liked our baseball product first. So he's moved into since he was with the Dodgers, he played over at Boston, and then he went up to Toronto now, and so he's brought the belt along with him, and he's opened up several players' eyes in those other clubhouses that he's in. But that's exactly how we're going to grow this thing, and that's exactly what we're doing is we're offering a high quality piece of equipment at the pro level that anyone can use. We're jumping into stuff that we can do customizable now. You may see, guys on the Dodgers that have a custom Core Energy belt, whether it's their number, their name,
Yeah. That'd be
embroidered
this
in
leather
the
piece,
leather.
right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So we can actually do custom design on the tip for team purchases. We can do numbers, and you'll see Core Energy now popping up around MLB ballparks. But we're also proud of what we've done at the high school and college level. Getting in with them, and their coaches tend to dictate a little bit closer what they can wear
Oh,
and what's acceptable as far as uniform goes. But our belt is 100% uniform compliant at all levels. And now we're just trying to see, what our next moves are as a company so that we can get these belts to as many players who want to wear them.
absolutely. I love it. And I think you guys are just about pretty customizable even for the colors, like some of those weird, colors that some of the schools might have. I think you were talking about one that had like a what was the gray that was just like
Yeah,
so different?
anthracite gray. Uh,
Anthracite gray. I'm like, what?
yeah, what
I've
is
never
that?
heard of that in my
Uh,
life.
yeah. The color thing is something that we're constantly, looking at, and how can we cater to as many teams as possible. So we're always developing new colors. We've got a purple, a yellow, a white, and an orange that are coming out next year. And a lot of these schools, are looking for us to bring their color out. It is a process. It is a monetary commitment to match the leather with the mesh and make sure that we're doing it the right way.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, we'll get there one day. And as we grow the company, I have no doubt that we'll be able to supply anyone and everyone with any of their customizable needs or their color needs for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Let's say there's a uniform guy at a university and they had like a sample jersey or something and be like, hey, would he just send it off to you and be like, hey, can you match this color? Would that be a good way to kind of go about it?
Yeah, there's always Pantones and PMSs that we can follow, and a red's a red in our eye, but when it comes to the college is and their alma maters and how they want it to look, then they
Mhm.
definitely want to match the best they can. So
Yeah, like
yes,
an NC State red versus like an Arkansas red or a
yeah,
Stanford red. Two, three
yeah.
different colors.
Yeah, you've got so many different colors, and I'll give you a great example is in MLB is a royal blue for the Mets is a different royal blue than it is for the Dodgers. Um, and the oranges that you see, you know, with New York Giants, with Baltimore Orioles, and with the Mets as well with their orange, those are three different oranges. So what we do is we select a color that falls in the middle of them, and hopefully that fits with the uniform. Now, if it's something that they're absolutely looking for, like anthracite gray,
Yeah,
which is a huge pain in the rear. Uh, but we want to support them. We want to do what we can, and as soon as we can. It just there is that, you know, time frame of getting it done correctly, and making sure the team and the customer, the client's happy at the end of the day.
absolutely. No, I love it. And you guys are kind of not just in the belts. I think you guys are kind of transitioning into some other products. Are we allowed to talk about that, or is that something we want to?
Yeah, absolutely. We can mention it. This company is definitely a sport brand. We have, you know, our CEO, who's an avid outdoor enthusiast, as well as, you know, car driver. So he wants to be involved in as many things as he can. And we're actually developing a compression short, or a compression underwear that's got the belt capabilities and belt science attached to it. And it's being developed right now. I hope that we can launch it, you know, around the holiday season, which looks like it's a high possibility. But the core logo, which I'm wearing right here, the core brand, is definitely something that we want to see in multiple sports. If we do the compression, all of a sudden that opens up, you know, soccer players for us. It opens up volleyball, you know, hockey, basketball, anybody who would wear a compression under their uniform. We do supply what's called a core fit right now, which is what you talked about, kind of that abdominal strap, or it appears to look, you know, weightlifting esque, but it's really designed um, to attack that inner abdominal pressure, and give people, you know, comfort with their movements around, uh, either, you know, everyday life, or on the field, or in the gym. So we have that, but we're constantly innovating product, and seeing how we can help athletes worldwide.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys got to find a couple power lifters or people who use it pretty periodically and
Yeah.
them start taking it by storm, or whatever other industry that you guys want to dive in. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've got a couple orthopedic surgeons that are looking at it, and they're actually looking at bringing it into their office, because once the recovery starts going on after someone's surgery, they want to be able to support their back, their core, and get moving as quick as they can. So yeah, we're looking at a lot of different avenues of where we can place our product.
Absolutely. Well, and especially for, people who have jobs that they pick up a lot of stuff. Like, I'm off the top of my head, right? It's UPS or like FedEx, truck drivers who have to pick up all the big packages, or Amazon, right? Like, you have all of those, or you have maybe even, I think we were mentioning this too, of like police department, or any other first responders that have uniforms that they have to wear belts. Hey, like, why not try to put this in, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're a very small company, but we think outside the box. Like you mentioned, we've sent the belts out to a couple municipal fire departments, couple police departments out and around the country. They absolutely love it, and now it's just a matter of, you know, getting the agency to sign off and saying, yeah, this is uniform compliant for them as well, which I don't think is going to be a huge problem, or a huge thing to tackle. You mentioned drivers. We've had talks with large companies that, you know, have drivers out on the road daily, that are bending over, picking up, and even sitting for long durations in their truck, and making
Oh
their
yeah.
deliveries, you know, across country. So we've talked to companies like that are looking at making it part of their uniform, and so yeah, this is a belt for everyone. Like I said, you showed the golf belt, or I'm sorry, you showed the baseball belt there,
Yeah.
but I've actually worn it golfing, and find that it's just as comfortable on the golf course as it is on a diamond.
Perfect. I love it. That's awesome. Was there a story behind the logo? I know I kind of skipped over that whenever you mentioned it. Is that kind of like also how the textiles are working whenever?
Yeah, it's based off of Japanese calligraphy, and a Japanese calligrapher. Almost looks like the infinity sign, right? Um, so
Or I looked at it more as like a DNA symbol, right?
yeah, yeah. But so yeah, there was some thought behind that, and they had a pretty well-known artist out in Japan design the original logo. So I like it, and like I
Yeah,
said, I put it on a hat out here as soon as I got hired, and um, yeah, I think that it speaks a number of different avenues.
I love it. I love it. Well, Travis, how else can everyone kind of get a hold of you, or if they're looking to reach out and try to get more information, find out, hey, can we get for these sizes, or I know you mentioned the different levels, right? You had the 4, the 5, and the 6, right? So
Yeah, so coreenergybelt.com is our website here. You can find all of the science, all of the information on the belt. Like you mentioned, it is customizable, so we sell it, for a 46-inch waist and down, which gives us a pretty wide avenue of who can wear it. If it's something that needs to be customizable and go larger than that, feel free to reach out to our customer service and our info team. But coreenergybelt.com is where you can pick these belts up. We do have a couple retailers that we're looking to land in the near future. So look for us out on the shelves that way. And then for the umpires, we mentioned the umpires.
oh yeah.
Uh, umpatire.com is a phenomenal partner with us. And they've put their belts online as well. So I think any umpires or referees or officials that are out there looking to get support for themselves, Umpatire has been a really good place for us to place our product.
Sweet.
Uh,
Yeah, no, I'll put that link down there in the show notes for you guys too. But yeah, no, that's Travis. I really appreciate you coming on and just kind of giving us the whole backstory on how it works and the ins and outs of it. It's awesome. I can't wait to use it, to be honest.
Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate you having us. Any which way we can support you and in the zone, let us know. And like I said, if you're looking for a different look or a different feel, give me a call and I'll get you, a belt or a compression short once they come out.
Yeah,
And
no, I might be staying tuned on those compression shorts for sure.
yeah,
So
that might be our next link up for sure.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, appreciate you listening and stay in the zone.
Appreciate it.